Hello everybody, welcome to Lesson 4, Planning, Doing, and Reflecting. This week we're going to be diving further into the intentional teaching framework, which incorporates the plan, do, and reflect per the ITF. You're going to have an opportunity to design an intentional teaching lesson plan with an eye on social studies development. You're also going to have an opportunity to engage in conversations about planning, doing, and reflecting in Yellow Dig Engage. So I just want to bring us to the top. The readings this week, you are going to continue to read in the textbook, the Epstein, the Intentional Teacher. We're going to read the Chapter 9 on social studies. We also have a couple of articles here, Minds by from Young Children, Social Studies in Today's Early Childhood Curricula. It is a PDF right here that's located in the course for you. And then we already started engaging with this last week, but this is another opportunity for you to engage with this reading around culturally relevant pedagogy in the preschool classroom. I've also included some important websites here, the Early Childhood and Social Studies Context, the National Council for Social Studies, lots of important and relevant resources for you there. We again have the Interactive Early Learning Outcomes Framework that's going to help in designing your intentional teaching activity this week, or intentional teaching lesson this week. And we've also incorporated information on equity and culturally responsive teaching. These are super relevant and important to engage in as you talk about social studies in the early childhood classroom. We have some intentional teaching examples here for you, and then of course the Interactive Early Learning Outcomes Framework. The viewings this week, we want to talk about why making a plan is important. We also have another episode from the early years learning framework, the professional learning program, talking about practice, the intentional teaching. So this is part 3 of 3 that you've already been engaging with. The presentations this week include seeing, planning, doing, and reflecting, part 1 and part 2. I just want to remind you that not only do we have the videos or the presentations here for you, but we've also included the transcript. So that's sometimes helpful for you to use that as well as you are watching and listening to the presentations each week. Okay, once you've gone through all of the content, you can go ahead and click next, and then I'll take you to the Yellow Dig conversation, planning, doing, and reflecting. We've been talking about all of this in this week's lesson, so I want you to watch both videos and observe how teachers do plan and reflect per the intentional teaching framework. And then respond to the prompt provided for each video. So first, watch the teacher planning video, and then after you watch the teacher planning video, think about the following and be prepared to respond to these in the Yellow Dig post. So what good qualities did you notice about this teacher's plan, and what are some ways this teacher might expand on her plans? And then we want you to watch the debriefing video. And after you watch the debriefing video, think about the following and prepare to answer the prompt for the debriefing video on Yellow Dig. So debriefing with someone else can be a helpful way to prompt reflection. What value do you see in these teachers debriefing at the end of the day? So when you post in Yellow Dig, you're going to relate to the teacher planning video, and then you'll also be relating to the debriefing video, which includes that reflection piece. So again, we're emphasizing the do, plan, and reflect in this week's conversation. Once you've completed your Yellow Dig, we have this very big assignment that's due this week. So make sure you review the content in Chapter 9. Of course, all the relevant resources that we've also provided to you would be important for you to review as you start thinking about social studies in the context of the early childhood classroom. So there's a couple of resources here. We've created an outline or a guide for you to complete the assignment. So that's one way to start. So this is really a step-by-step sort of guide to the expectations, what we want to see in your lesson plan for this assignment. So review and read the content on the social studies in Chapter 9. You're going to choose an area you'd like to work on around social systems, and then one area you'd like to work around on social concepts. These are just, again, a guide, an overview of what the expectations are for this assignment. We want to emphasize part of the know. So what do we need to know about children's development, and what do you need to know about teaching and learning? And then what else is important to know? So remembering those contexts that we talked about last week, think about those as well as you're thinking about what is important for you to know as you start thinking about designing an intentional teaching lesson plan. Then we want to think about the C part of the intentional teaching framework. What would you like to see? What specific behaviors are you looking for? And how will you see your areas of interest? So are you going to do the videotaping? Are you going to do observations with detailed notes or other ways that you're going to really help focus your watching and seeing seeing students learning and developing within this area of social studies? We're going to then set a plan. You're going to set goals. You're going to write one long-term goal related to social systems, and then one long-term goal related to social concept. You're going to identify the subdomain under the ELOF that the goal aligns with, and then write one short-term goal related to this long-term goal. You're going to do the same thing for social concepts. Then you're going to make a plan for each of your short-term goals. So you're going to make a plan for social systems, and you're going to make a plan for social concept. These should be distinct plans. So make sure you're making distinct plans around social systems and one around social concepts. You're going to write a plan for improving practice and reaching your goals, so improving your professional practice while in the same moment improving child outcomes. You want to note any challenges you anticipate and how you plan to address those, how often and how long you will implement your plan, and any changes you expect to see. For the do part, we want you to videotape one of your plans. So you're going to complete 2 plans, you're going to videotape 1. So one of those plans you're going to implement in a classroom or with a small group of children, and then you're going to videotape that. And then you're going to submit the video to Coach and Companion for peer feedback, and then you're going to provide feedback to at least 2 peers on their videos using the Corp Guide. So that's the overview for this assignment. I'm going to take you back into Canvas. I've also created an assignment template for you. So that's what you're going to actually complete to submit and complete along with, submit along with your video into Coach and Companion for this assignment. So I'm going to show you what the template looks like. When you hit the link here, it's going to force you to make a copy. Go ahead and click the blue button, copy. And there it is. We have the title page already created for you. Now there's a couple of ways for you to do this. You can work in Google Docs, or you can go ahead and download it directly to your computer and work on it as a Word doc, either way. But for this assignment, I would probably recommend that you go ahead and work in it in Google Docs, because you're going to share a link with us to your document along with your video into Coach and Companion. So scratch that. I would keep it in Google Docs for this assignment. Okay, so I've created a template for you, your intentional teaching plan. So you're already identified you're going to do social systems and you're going to do social concept, but I want you to give us more information. What part of social systems are you hoping to focus on, and what part of social concept, and which ELOF domain do these align with? And then we want you to talk about what you need to know about children's development that you're focusing on, and what do you need to know about teaching and learning, right? So we want to, even though this is in a templated form, I still expect you to write and complete sentences. I expect you to use in-text citations and referencing the course content from this course. And then if you have additional resources you want to use, that's fine, but I want you to focus first on the resources we provided you for this course as you write for this assignment, and then you can add others. The expectation is that you're writing complete thoughts. I've taken it out of an APA formatted paper and put it into a template for you, but I still require that you write as if this is a APA formatted paper. But I've just designed or framed it for you so that you can really narrow in your plan as you're designing it, okay? Then we want you to think about knowing as far as teaching and learning. Again, the textbook talks about this, and then that you can add other resources. And then what else is important to know? Think about context, yourself, your expectations, the family, the language, the culture, the community. What else is important to know or for you to keep in mind as you design your intentional teaching plan? Be specific and descriptive as to what would you like to see to better understand the development and teaching and learning in the areas that you are choosing to focus on, and what will you see yourself doing. So make sure you respond to each of the questions that are framed for you in the template. What specific learning and engaging or behaviors will you look for specific to the domain you're focusing on? And what will you see the children doing? I want you to be specific and descriptive. And how will you see your areas of interest? Explain how you will see and why you are choosing the method. Okay, now we're going to get to planning. So you're going to set goals. We're going to connect them to the domains. So up here, I want you to identify which part of the social system you're focusing on. And up here, I want you to tell us which part of the social concept you're focusing on. Then think about the domain, the subdomain, the ELOF standard, and the indicator. And this is all already here for you in the ELOF. So make that connection. Then you're going to write one long-term goal for each of them. I've given you some examples there. Then we write one short-term goal related to each of these. And then based on your short-term goal, you're going to make 2 plans. So again, one around the social systems and one around social concepts. This is all in your textbook, so make sure you reference that as you're designing your plan. Describe the intentional teaching with detail that aligns with the goal and the ELOF standard you identified above. We want you to think about the setting and materials you'll need. What are you going to say? What questions will you ask? What are comments? Remember, we want to see 5 comments to 1 question. Make note of any challenges you anticipate encountering and how you plan to address those. How long will you implement your plan? Any changes you expect to see? And then how will this interaction positively affect the children's learning domain you identified above? Before you videotape, I want you to go back and reflect. I want you to think about what intentional teaching strategies you're thinking or using in your plan, what child choice, where are you expanding language, and how are you developing those positive relationships. And then, so that's your plan that you're submitting, okay? Then I want you to make sure you're including the references. I've also included resources here for you in regards to the community's reflection and feedback for you to provide feedback to your peers. So you can use these resources down here below in your reflection, so your reflection on your plan, and then also in your feedback, right, to your peers using these ideas, the intentional teaching, the child choice, the expanding language and positive relationship, and looking for detailed, specific, objective feedback that you're going to be providing to your peers. Okay, so I've pretty much provided you with all of the resources you need, aside obviously from the Canvas course readings that you're going to need to engage with in order to do this successfully. So that is your lesson plan. When you are ready to share or link it up with your video, once you've already videotaped one of your plans and you're ready to share, I want you to click the share button. You're going to change it to anyone with a link, and you're going to give us commenter access, okay, so that I can comment on your plan. And then go ahead and copy this link, and that link will go along with your coaching companion video that you're going to be submitting. And here, oh, let me see, there it is. Oh. Okay, down below here, apologies. So then when you're ready to submit your video, down below, the load the lesson 4 video, you're going to click that button. It's going to take you to the coaching companion. You're going to add your video, choose a file, add a video, and once you've added the video, I don't know if I have any videos on here for you guys. Add the video. And then add a comment. along with your video.